Christy Penley, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. How has 2026 treated you so far?
Well, we're just into it. So it's still, I
Hmm.
feel like I've been on vacation most of it,
Yeah, me too. Me too. I
which is kind of
typically
nice.
take, yeah, kind of the week between Christmas and New Year's. Um, I've heard it called Dead Week,
Yeah,
where you sort of like you wake up in a haze. You don't really know what day it is.
right.
Like all day yesterday felt like, or what was it? New Year's Eve to me felt like Friday. For some reason. I guess, it's just like I'm going to a party, and so it's like, well, that's something I do on Friday. So it felt like Friday, and then I woke up New Year's Day, and it felt like Saturday. And then I'm like, wait, tomorrow's Friday. I'm
Yeah.
all discombobulated.
Oh,
Anyway.
yeah. Well, and before all of that, I got sick right after Christmas and I was supposed to preach and
Uh-oh.
baptize like 7 people. And it never happened, but I got sick in the middle of the night and had to cancel all of that. And
Oh.
one of my colleagues just did it all. And so then when you're sick and there's a holiday, it's like
Mm.
you're really messed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm better now, which is great.
Good. Yeah. I'm glad to hear you're better.
Yeah.
There has, yeah, a lot of people that I know have gotten the flu
Yeah.
over Christmas. So
Yeah. No
'tis the
fun.
season, I suppose. Yeah.
No fun.
Yeah. Christy, your practice typically in years past, I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but you always pick a word for the year.
I
Yeah.
do.
Do
I'm not a big
you?
New Year's resolution fan, but I like
No.
words
Yeah.
because New Year's resolutions, I mean, you're committed for about, 3.5 days and then you fail.
Yeah.
And so I like to
Usually.
pick a word, which is, reading books and studying and focusing on one kind
Hmm.
of thing. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I picked a word this
Yeah.
year and it's forgive.
Forgive.
Um, yeah, forgiveness. And basically, like, I think I just need to dig into what does it mean to grant forgiveness? What does it mean to be forgiven? What does it mean to live as a forgiven person? I don't know. I just think that there's stuff I need to learn in that,
Mm.
um, and want to press in. So that's my word.
Forgive. Nice.
Yeah.
What's I know you've talked about this a little bit in the past, but like what is that mostly intuitive for you, or like how do you pick a word? You just kind of think about it and see what comes to mind, or I don't know, is there a process you have?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, some of it is thinking about it, thinking about what season am I in and,
Mm-hmm.
what have I been kind of thinking about. But I think also I do draw in some of my closest friends and my husband, and I ask them as well. I have 2 friends that kind of girlfriends that just kind of know a lot about my life, and I will often
Mm.
ask them like, "Hey, do you think there's an area that I need to focus on or a place where maybe I've I don't know, misconceptions or lies I
Mm.
believe about whatever that thing is?" And so
Yeah.
sometimes they speak into that as well,
Okay.
along with Paul.
Yeah.
So,
Paul
do you
Paul
pick a
being your
word?
husband.
Paul being my husband, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool, Christy. I really appreciate the intentionality behind that. I typically do not. It's not a normal practice for me to pick a word um, for the year, and I haven't done resolutions in a long time either. Um, Kind of for the same reason, I think resolutions are there can be some helpfulness, I think, about resolutions. Um, but one of the things that I mean, this is part of the gravity process as well. And we actually just put in the gravity links this past week. I put an article from Chuck DeGroat where he talks about leaving New Year's resolutions behind and maybe picking up some New Year's longings,
Yeah,
desires, that kind of thing. Because usually what's behind a resolution is some kind of desire, right? There's
right.
a reason that you want to resolve to do something, this year. And I think it's helpful to get in touch with those things and name those things. And so anyway, so I it's kind of a process that I've been in. I don't know. I mean, we try to stay in touch with desires and that kind of thing, but I don't know. There's something. I turned 50 this last year, and there has been a kind of an ongoing exploration for me of um, desire. It's kind of a I don't know. Sometimes I think, I don't know. I'm not gonna filter this. I'm just gonna say it. But sometimes because sometimes I think the second half of life stuff, I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe gets overblown, but I don't know. I kind of feel like there's some kind of second half of life, getting in touch with desire. What do I really want?
Yeah.
Like what am I really called to? I mean, all
Yeah.
those kinds of vocational identity questions, they feel like a really big deal, I guess, to ask.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I've been doing a lot of reading about that, and that's something that I think I'm going to continue to explore this year
I love it.
is some of those kinds of things. So anyway, I could probably
Yeah.
distill that into a word if I had some time to think about it. Maybe next time. So
Maybe our listeners will tell us what your word is.
yeah, I could
Bring them in.
yeah, bring them in. Hey, email me. Let
There
me
we
know what you
go.
think my word is.
Well,
Maybe that would be a helpful focus.
I do buy a piece of jewelry
Oh,
that has the word whatever I'm
oh,
focusing on for that year, and I wear it all year long. And so sometimes it's a
oh,
necklace, sometimes
yeah.
it's a ring. This year it's a bracelet.
Okay.
And yeah,
You know what
anyway,
you should
it's like
do?
a visual reminder.
You should get, starting this year, you should take your word of the year and get a neck tattoo every year, and slowly build like a
Just
full on like collar, like neck tattoo with all the words.
I'm sure Paul would love that.
Yeah, I like neck tattoos, or like a
Oh,
forehead
man.
tattoo.
There you go.
Shave your head and just get tattoos all over your head.
You
Yeah,
started. You already shaved your head, so you
yeah,
can go
I'm ready to
first.
go.
Yeah,
I
you are.
just, yeah, I would just need to get my first tattoo. That'd be a bold choice, wouldn't it, to get a
Yeah,
head tattoo as your first tattoo?
that would yes. I have 3
Yeah.
tattoos. You have 0
Do you?
tattoos?
I have 0 tattoos, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Does
Yeah.
Matt have tattoos?
No, he doesn't have any tattoos that
Oh,
I
I'm
know
the
of.
only one here. Look at
The
that.
only one,
Okay.
the only badass.
But no tattoos on my head.
No, yeah, that's true. Not underneath that
No,
hair?
no,
No? Okay, all
not underneath my hair or my
right.
extensions, either way.
Yeah, yes, yeah. No tattoos.
Oh,
Anyway,
man.
I have thought about getting a tattoo, but I don't know. I just haven't. It's one of those things that I don't know. There's all kinds of reasons why I haven't pulled the trigger yet. So we'll see.
Maybe the second half of your
Hey,
life.
maybe this year, maybe that's the second half of life
There
journey
you
for me
go.
is I get all my tattoos,
There you go.
whatever tattoos I wanted to get.
Well,
Well,
hey, today we're
well,
going to talk about
y-
Epiphany.
yes, yes. Can I say a couple things about just the liturgical calendar in general
Yeah, because
first?
you preached on this, and
I've preached on Epiphany, yes, before.
yeah,
And
tell
the
us.
liturgical calendar. I'll just say too, just in case our listeners are unaware, I think most of them will be aware, but Matt is on sabbatical, so it's
Yeah.
just going to be Christy and I on the podcast for a few months here. But one of the things that drew me into the sacramental liturgical tradition, yeah, most of our listeners know that I'm an Episcopal priest, and so is Matt, and you have some history as an as an Anglican minister.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that drew me in was the liturgical calendar and the way of marking time that
Mhm.
the church has traditionally had, because I think I think part of my realization is that the way that we can't not mark time as humans. There's a way of celebrating what's important, and some of that stuff is just cultural, where you can't really help it. Like New Year's Eve is an example of that. Like we've all decided that December 31st is the last day of the year, and January 1st, it's
Yeah.
pretty arbitrary, but that's the first day of the year, and so there's a big celebration, and you can't really. I mean, you could try to avoid it, right? It's just I'm going to treat it like a normal day, but like in my neighborhood, we've got fireworks.
Right.
Just like one neighborhood over, they're firing guns into the air.
No
It's
way.
insane. I'm
Well,
hoping they're blanks, but I don't know. It's very it's very dangerous and very irresponsible. Um, but for whatever reason, we live near a neighborhood where that happens, man, New Year's Eve, just people are firing automatic weapons.
Oh my
It's really crazy.
gosh.
It's really crazy. Our dog really does not like it. And I really hope, they're blanks, because it feels like an expensive way to celebrate, like, aren't
Yeah,
bullets expensive? I don't actually know, but
I have no
it feels like
idea,
they would
but
be. And firing them into
even
the
if
air, they
you're
got to come down, so,
yeah, and if
yeah.
you're trying to pretend like it's not happening, you can't
Right.
pretend.
Yeah, you can't, that's, the culture around you is celebrating something that you are involved in, whether you like it or not,
Yeah,
whether your dog likes it or not. So there's a way of marking time. Birthday celebrations are part of this. All kinds of cultural holidays that we have. Valentine's Day, um, which is actually a feast, a Christian feast, but it's been very overtaken by sort of romantic, sentimental kinds of
by
things
Hallmark.
by Hallmark, right? Well, I mean, most of the holidays have been taken over.
That's
So
true.
Mother's Day, Father's Day, Thanksgiving is an example of like just an American kind of holiday that reinforces American values. I would argue that it's the calendar of Mammon, because it tells you when to shop and who to buy
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
that kind of a thing. But one of the things that drew me into the liturgical tradition was the calendar and this way of marking time that is rooted in not just the establishment and perpetuation of American values, for example, but the gospel of Jesus
Mm,
Christ. And so the liturgical calendar starts, in Advent, and that is kind of this interesting double lens where we're sort of reenacting the anticipation that leads up to the birth of the Messiah. But we're also, if you look at the liturgical readings for the season, we're talking about the second coming of Jesus as well.
right,
So there's
right.
this double lens of remembering the anticipation of the first coming of the Messiah, and then we are also anticipating the second coming of Jesus at the same time. So that's an interesting season. That's like 4 Sundays right before Christmas. Christmas tide is obviously it's 12 days, which I harp on a lot. It's not
Yep,
just one day; it's 12 days. We're actually
yep.
still well, actually, when this comes out, it'll
It'll
be
be
the day of
Epiphany.
Epiphany.
Yeah,
Yeah, January 6th every year. But leading up to Epiphany are 12 days of Christmas. So we're focusing on the incarnation, and the stories surrounding the birth of Jesus. And then, yeah, we get to Epiphany on January 6th. And Epiphany is a feast, it's a 1 day feast. But then the themes of Epiphany extend during the season all the way to Lent, when we get to Lent.
yeah.
So yeah.
And it traditionally celebrates like the humanity, the God in flesh,
Mhm.
right? And remembers the visit of the Magi, which a lot of
Right.
times we just say is part of Christmas and even before Christmas, right?
Yeah.
But it has its own celebration.
Yeah, I like to think about it. I mean, one of the things that I say when I get a chance to preach on Epiphany is that, um, the Feast of Epiphany basically means revelation. It means a revealing, right? So
Mhm.
we've all probably used that word when we say like we had a realization. We say I've had an epiphany,
Right.
right? And so epiphany, this means an aha moment where the essential nature of something long hidden comes to light.
Yeah.
And so, and you, as you said, traditionally the story of the Magi coming from the east to worship Jesus is associated with Epiphany,
Mhm.
because Christ is revealed not just to be Israel's Messiah, but the Savior of the whole world. There's these Gentiles, right, that are coming to see this one who has been born, right,
Right.
King of the Jews, but also, um, there's these hints then right at the beginning of the gospel that it's like this is for everybody. This is not just for the people of Israel. And so Epiphany is all about the revelation of God's nature and purpose in the coming of Christ. I like to think about it as the consequences of Christmas, or the
I like that.
implications of the incarnation.
Yeah. Mm.
That's, if you're going to alliterate things,
No, I
which
like it.
I tend to do. So,
So,
so yeah. So
do you
the
have a service? Do you have an Epiphany
You know
service?
what? We don't. We haven't. But the more I've actually been thinking about this the last couple of days. I'm like, I wonder if we should. Like we've got a midweek service for Ash Wednesday. We've
Right.
got one for Maundy, Thursday, Good Friday. But I'm kind of wondering maybe we should just celebrate Epiphany every year, just for whoever can come, just like we do those other holidays. Maybe the Ascension as well.
I think
So
it's really cool. We don't have a service, but we do door chalking, which we're going to get into that in
yes,
just a minute, as
yeah,
like it's a way of celebrating it within the homes of people that are part of our faith community. But
yeah,
I've never heard of a church doing a service, and it seems like it would be really
yeah.
actually a very cool,
There's
intentional thing.
there's an Episcopal church that I know of in Chicago that's going to do an Epiphany Vigil. So they do it like Monday night,
Okay.
January 5th, which
Okay.
is also a traditional night. It's called a 12th night party. Sometimes that people do a party on the 12th night of Christmas.
Okay.
It's also a Shakespeare play. But but yeah, the stories that we end up focusing on then are the visit of the Magi. Traditionally, then the first Sunday after the Epiphany, you um, you focus on the baptism of Jesus. So that's
Yeah.
another example of like the revelation
Right.
of what this, what the meaning of Jesus' life, right? That you see this early picture of the Trinity with the voice from heaven, the visit of the Holy Spirit in the form of a dove, and Jesus there in the water, sort of fully identifying with humanity. Oftentimes, the Jesus turning water into wine at the wedding of Cana is read um, during Epiphany. And then the presentation of Jesus in the temple, which is celebrated on February 2nd every year, that's also part of this season
Yeah.
of Epiphany. And then, sort of, the beginning of Jesus' ministry of teaching and healing, the calling of the disciples. And then the last Sunday before Lent begins, usually the transfiguration of
Mm.
Jesus is read. So those are kind of the themes and the stories that are the focus of Epiphany.
You know, Matt talked about when we did our Christmas, like kind of how do we celebrate different things
Hmm.
within the Christmas season. He talked about the Ann Voskamp like circular candle. I don't even know what you call it,
Oh,
like
it's like an
labyrinth.
Advent wreath. Yeah,
Yeah, and,
Advent
we have
labyrinth.
one, and you add a section of like, to it, and it
Oh,
extends from 25 days, and actually, you then go out and then go back in, and it brings you all the way to Lent, and then you do the 40 days of Lent, and I
oh,
really love that because it kind of helps bridge all of, like,
yeah,
the church calendar together and
yeah,
helps me kind of see how they're all connected.
yeah.
So,
That's really cool.
yeah,
Yeah, that. I mean, we can talk about this maybe later. This like we're going to do this year. Sort of focus every once in a while on these shifts in the liturgical calendar.
yeah.
Um, See if that's interesting for our listeners. But we can talk about the Transfiguration and how uh, that's an interesting bridge into Lent for a lot of different reasons. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, can we talk about different ways to kind of celebrate Epiphany?
yeah, let's do it.
So I mentioned the door chalking. Do you guys do that at your
We do.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay,
this.
so tell
Yeah.
us
Go ahead.
explain it. Tell us what door chalking is.
Well, do you want to explain it?
I can,
I
sure.
feel like I've
Uh,
done a lot of talking so far. Go ahead.
okay. It's an old tradition. I think it actually started in Europe. I don't know if that's true. Maybe I'm making that up, but
I
it's a
think that's right.
practice in like a house blessing, and you write with chalk over your door. And what you write is 2026, like you have the year up there, but then
Hmm.
you have like these little um, kind of plus signs,
Yeah.
blessing
It's a
signs.
sign of a blessing. Yep.
Yeah. With the letters CMB on them. So it's 20 plus CMB plus 26. Um, and that CMB, sometimes people say that it represents the three magi, which here's just a trivia question. Do you have any idea what history says the three magi's names are?
I do happen to know this
Okay, tell us.
because I researched this for our little write up that we do for our chalk blessings. It's Caspar, Melchior, and Baltazar.
Okay.
Those are
And
great
like,
names, right?
I know
Yeah.
really good
Yeah.
names. Um, some people say that it represents like the Latin phrase, may Christ bless this home too,
Yes.
or maybe it's
Christus
both things.
mansionem benedicat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but the
I would say why
practice,
not both?
yeah, exactly. Both. I
Right?
think
It's
both
the
is
it's
good.
the three magi, and it's that my intention is for Christ to bless this home. So that's what it
Yeah.
means. Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we as a church, like, we go out and bring a blessing. Maybe we can put it in the church note in the church notes, no, in the show notes,
Yeah.
um, of just what is the liturgy and kind of the blessing
Yeah.
that we do,
Hmm.
um but somebody from our church goes to different homes and goes through the liturgy with the families at our that and it's really kind of a beautiful thing because
Mm.
not only are we writing it on the door,
Yeah.
but then we're also praying together that
Yeah.
what happens in the home really matters and
Hmm.
that, we would be intentional with the time, the people we invite in, what we talk about, all of those things, throughout
Yeah.
the next year.
Yeah.
And we write it on the door, and then people, of course, ask throughout the year. Of course, it wears off, slowly, like, I have to wash mine off to redo it for Epiphany,
Yeah. Yeah.
um
I
but
usually
people
do too.
ask, and then it's an opportunity
Hmm.
to kind of explain, like, why do we do that and
Yes.
what's the purpose of it, which is just a cool conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very cool. We do it every year. We actually will bless the chalk,
Yeah.
which we at the end of the service. Um, we're recording this on Friday, January 2nd. So at our service on January 4th, at the end of the service, we'll bless chalk and then send people home with this liturgy and with a piece of chalk to bless their homes. And so we just people can do this themselves. They can invite one of the ministers to come and do it. There's actually one of our table groups which is more kind of centrally located in a neighborhood. They will take a table group night and they will do this. They will make a little pilgrimage to a bunch of homes
Oh,
and do
cool.
this kind of with each other, is sort of walking to the next home and praying the liturgy there, um, that
Huh.
kind of thing. But yeah, the liturgy that I don't know if the we use the same one that you use, but yeah, essentially it just you know it prays that the illumination um, that Christ gives to the world would be specifically present in this home and to all who enter the home, to all who live in the home. And yeah, it's a really beautiful liturgy and a lovely way, I think, to celebrate Epiphany.
That might be a good segue of just, like, practically speaking, I'm curious if you think back to the last year, like, you're gonna rewrite it on your door,
Mm.
but you think about the last year, has there been a way that you've seen kind of God work through who you bring in your home, like,
Mm.
goodness that you've seen just in the gatherings in your home and that you're willing to share?
Yeah. Um, I think the first thing that comes to mind is we have a table group that meets in our home probably 2 or 3 Wednesday. We meet on Wednesday nights. 2 or 3 Wednesdays out of the month, we're in our home, and I think that's been something that has felt like a blessing for me included. For my wife, for my dog. My dog really loves everybody coming over. She assumes that they're there for her, and they are actually. She's just so cute. People really do focus on her and want her attention. Anyway, um, she's a pretty princess. Very spoiled. But I have heard from a lot of people throughout the year, this last year, how meaningful it's been to just have this regular touch point of gathering. We share a meal together. People bring food. We share. It's a potluck meal. Um, we, we just talk. We have conversation. We try to. It's conversation about, it's not just sort of like surface level stuff, but we try to have a question that helps us to go a little deeper. We talk about our lives. We talk about the things that we're celebrating, the things that we're grieving, the things that we're concerned about. Um, we try to share the real stuff of our lives together, and then we pray together at the end.
Mm.
It's very, very simple. It doesn't take a ton of I don't know. It doesn't take a ton of energy to lead or plan, but it's been a really meaningful rhythm for people throughout the year.
That's good.
Yeah.
I
How about
kinda
you?
asked that question because I ask it because I think a lot of times in the door talking, you're asking God to bless your home. And a lot of times, I think we have the misconception that blessing is just for my life to be good. Like,
Mm.
give me
Yeah.
this blessing. Like, I
Right.
want things to be easy or whatever the thing is.
Hmm.
But the reality is, we are blessed to be a blessing to other people. We don't just get a blessing to indulge and just, I think it's also to be able to like extend and pour out as well. Like, what have we
Mm.
been blessed with that we can extend to other people?
Mm.
And I think
Yes.
in the door chalking, it's a constant reminder of, hey, God, would you bless this home so that we can bless other people? And I hear you saying that happens through people who come on Wednesday nights, through dinner, through questions, through conversation. Um, and
Mm.
I don't know, it helps me get out of my like selfish mindset of
Yeah.
like this place is just for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's really great. I'm reminded of, I've done a couple, or let's see here. I preached a wedding last year, and I guess I'll preach another one this month. And one of the things I was struck by, I hadn't preached a wedding for a long time, and so one of the things I was struck by is how, the passages that the couple chose, how much they spoke about that, where
Mhm.
their marriage, their relationship, this covenant that they were making with one another was not just for themselves. It's not just two people facing one another, but it's actually two people facing the world and
Yeah.
creating. Part of what happens in that covenant is that you are blessed to be a blessing. And so you create through the covenant that you make with one another, you create an atmosphere, an environment, a home that can be a place of blessing for others, that can be a place where others can enter into that atmosphere and sense and know something about God through this covenant that you have made with one another. And so, anyway, I was just struck by how beautiful that is. That's, the sign of that covenant being a sign of, you know that the blessing that we participate in must flow out of us,
Yeah.
or we're not actually participating in it. If we try to keep it all for ourselves, we end up finding that we don't have it.
Yeah.
We lose it. It slips through our fingers.
Paul and I have been pretty intentional in with our home in that way,
Hmm.
where we've just had lots of different people live with us who
Yeah.
needed a place, whether that's for like 3 months or 3 years, honestly.
Yeah.
And some people really disagree. Like, nope, the home is like my safe place and like I don't know. And obviously it is a safe place, but it is also an extension of
Yeah.
the hospitality we want to give to people. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. I mean, you definitely, you know, there has to be some discernment, right? But
sure.
I think that that's right. To always be thinking, is there a way for us to, um, people have done the same with us. We've had families that have lived in our basement, for
Mhm.
months at a time because they, know, hadn't, or something, they needed a place to stay while
Yeah.
they were in between houses or something like
Yeah.
that. So these were, you know, not just random people that we didn't know; they were people that we knew.
Right, right.
Um, but that, there's a bit of extra work involved in it, obviously. Um, but then I always found that it felt like there was more goodness and blessing in it than there was sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we talked
Okay.
about door chalking.
Door chalking.
We have two more things. Can we talk about two more ways to
Let's
celebrate?
talk about two more ways. Go.
Okay, the second one is King's Cake,
Yeah.
because Epiphany is sometimes called King's Day because it
Hmm.
recognizes the three kings. Although, just so you know, I do not think it was three kings. I'm like
Right.
pretty, I think it was many people. In fact,
Oh,
I have a
interesting.
picture in my house of like four kings
Right.
just to
Well,
kind of debunk that.
right. Because that's just right. It doesn't actually say in the scriptures, right, that there were
No,
three. It
no,
just
it
says
says
that
three
magi
gifts.
came.
Yeah, and I think people assume three kings because of three gifts that were given. But the reality is,
Yeah.
listen, if I go to a birthday party, my whole family goes, and
Right.
it's your birthday, I'm going to give you one birthday present for the
Hmm.
8 Penley people.
Right. And it's
So,
going to be frankincense.
It's gonna
Yeah.
it's gonna be the best
They're
gift
like,
that
"What
you've
is
ever
this?
received.
Why does Christy always bring this frankincense?"
Oh man, yeah. Well, so one tradition that is kind of
Mhm.
done is that people make a cake and they put like a plastic baby in it. Like
Plastic baby Jesus.
yes, like
Yeah.
the kind of plastic baby that's I guess designed to actually bake in the batter. Um and then you bake the cake and
Mhm.
you decorate it and then you have people over and you cut the cake and whoever finds the baby in their piece of cake is the baker for the next year for King's
Oh.
Cake Day. So,
The way that we did it is a little bit different. The plastic baby is definitely not edible. And
oh,
so we usually get a king's cake from a local bakery that makes, oh, they're so good. They're so
oh.
good. Anyway, but they have the plastic baby on the side because legally, you know what I mean? Like they can't
They
bake
don't
a,
wanna
piece
poison
of
someone.
plastic, they could get sued. And then there's warnings, don't eat the baby. But yeah, so you sort of insert it, into the cake, you slice it up and put it in one of the pieces. And then yeah, the person who gets it, they have blessings for a year.
Oh, blessings,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And
Alright,
they
well
also have to wear the crown,
oh,
and we
yeah.
put a bunch of beads, like Mardi Gras beads.
Yep.
We put a bunch of bead, and then we usually treat them as the king for the day, which is it's actually kind of a humiliating thing to be the
They
king.
feel more
So
embarrassed
they
than
feel
blessed.
embarrassed, which is like, that's fine for you to be embarrassed for one day because you're going to be blessed this whole year because you got the baby Jesus in the cake.
So will you do that with your I don't know, group that meets
You
at
know,
your home?
I don't have any plans for it, but now that I think about it, we probably should.
I
You know?
feel like you could, and then maybe your
Yeah.
question that you ask everybody is like, "Where have you been surprised by Jesus this year?" There's my
Hold on, let me write this down. This is
I
pretty
know,
good.
right?
This is good
Right, get a
stuff.
piece of paper.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
I love connecting things like that,
Yeah,
especially in
that's great.
conversations.
You'd be a
Um,
good event planner.
you
This is
know,
great. No,
but like
that's a great
purposeful
idea.
event planner, by the way.
Yes.
Like Jesus event planner.
Well, yeah, yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
I think you'd be a good any event planner
Oh,
for
thanks.
sure.
Well,
Yeah. Um, but yeah, that's a great idea. Where have you been surprised by little baby Jesus, little plastic baby Jesus this year?
you know,
All right.
it's
Obviously,
actually
there's a little bit of a joke there, but
right.
yeah, that's a great way to
Connect it.
connect it. Yeah.
I feel like if you have kids, this is a really good way to celebrate Epiphany
Hmm.
because kids love decorating cakes. They love finding surprises. They love being surprised.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like adults like it too. So,
Yeah. And they love chintzy crowns and bead necklaces.
right, right.
So yeah,
Um,
that's a definitely a fun way. I hadn't thought about that, but I'd like to do that for our table group this week. So
there you go. Okay, well, the final way that we have celebrated Epiphany is I actually don't know if this is like if church history, if anybody's done this other than like people I know around the city.
you
So you're gonna
created
have to
this
tell me.
maybe then.
I don't think I created it. I think my
Okay.
neighbor created it. She's the one who told me about it. But um, it's a tradition where you turn your Christmas tree into an Easter cross.
Oh,
And so you're
I haven't heard of
bridging
this.
those two holidays to kind of
Oh,
deepen the impact of Christ's birth and the
okay.
sacrifice for us. And so
Yeah.
you literally, if you cut down your Christmas tree, which in Colorado, lots of people cut down Christmas trees. And so they're live Christmas trees. If you have a fake Christmas tree, this is not going to work. But if you have a real one,
Yeah.
you basically cut off,
Or it will only work once.
right. And you won't have a tree for next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
You cut like off all of the branches, and
Hmm.
then the big log, you cut that in like a third and two thirds, and
Okay.
you attach the first third of the top of the tree and kind of make a cross out of it. And then
Oh.
we put white lights on it, and then you can either put it either in we had it in our backyard for a while, or people put it in their front yard or leave it in their house actually
Hmm.
until Easter. Have you ever
Wow.
heard of this before?
No, I never have. I kind of
Okay.
like it.
It's super cool,
Yeah.
and I don't know, it helps for me bridge the church calendar because otherwise it just feels
Hmm.
so disconnected, um,
Yeah.
and it's a reminder of kind of the cradle
Hmm.
to the cross, if you will, um,
Yeah.
and God being with us,
Yeah.
so
I like it. One of the things that we don't have a real tree anymore, but we used to cut down a real Christmas tree every year. And one of the things that we would do every once in a while, we did this early on in our church life. We did a 12th night party,
Oh yeah.
which the 12th January 5th, 12th night, and we burned it
Okay.
just as like a bonfire,
Mm-hmm.
outside. And
Yeah.
that was fun. But you have to be so careful. This is what we
Yeah.
learned. Those trees, they dry up pretty quick, and they go up so fast and so
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah.
Several of us singed arm hair
Oh my
when we lit that
goodness.
thing on fire, just because we were just too close to the thing, and it went just it just exploded almost. It left a permanent mark. We had a concrete out in our backyard of the house we had at that time, like a concrete pad where we played basketball and stuff. And we burned it on the concrete pad, and it left a permanent mark on the concrete. It burned so hot
Holy cow.
that it left a permanent mark. So that's another thing that I don't think we ever burned a tree after that. We're just like, that's dangerous stuff. We have to call the fire department, let them know that we're burning our Christmas tree. So yeah, but that's a fun tradition. I hadn't heard of making the tree into a cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. And I like it. So we'll put a picture maybe in the show notes of kind of
Yeah.
what it looks like, because that kind of
Yeah.
helps people have an imagination. But yeah,
Yeah.
those are just 3 ways to kind of celebrate Epiphany that I thought would be cool to talk about.
They are cool to talk about. It's a great idea. All right. Well, and we'll put a link to the liturgy for chalking your door. And you don't need blessed chalk. That's just kind of a fun little additional thing that we do. I'll just say, I like the act of blessing. We'll sprinkle some, holy water on it.
Mm-hmm.
Some water that we use that's blessed, that people use to remember their baptism, going in and out of church. And I like that act of blessing because there's a link then between the worship, the Eucharist,
Right.
and sort of taking the blessing of what we experience together in worship, and taking that into our homes. But it's symbolic of that blessing. It's not essential for it. So anyway,
Yeah.
so you can use any kind of chalk that you would like. Although one year I did have somebody read our story on the website, on the church website, about blessing the door with
Yeah.
chalk. And he wrote to the church and said, "Can you send me some blessed chalk?"
Oh.
Because he's a very, very Catholic person who just sort of
You wanted
believed in
it.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I wrote him a little note of blessing and sent him some of our blessed chalk.
Oh, I like it.
Isn't that sweet?
It's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I realized Matt's not here for the next couple months, and so there's not going to be like a dumb dad joke at the
A
end.
dumb dad joke, unless
our listeners send them in.
Yeah, or I don't know, unless we, get our act together and do some.
Well, I don't
Do you
really.
have any?
Well, I did. I was wondering if you needed a boat. Do you need a boat?
Not that I know of.
Well, because I know a guy, and he's an
Know a guy.
architect.
Oh. Yeah,
Bible jokes.
It's pretty bad. That's a Bible dad joke.
Bible dad joke. I think our listeners need to send in jokes. So, listener, if you have a joke, help us out, because listen, without Matt here,
Yeah.
actually, it might be more peaceful at the end.
Less anxiety for you.
Right. Where
actually,
he asked me a question, I'm like, wait, is this a joke, or is he actually being real?
Wait. Is this happening? All right. I'm gonna set this up. I'm gonna set this up. Do you want to hear a joke?
Yeah,
Christy?
do it.
All right. Here's a dad joke.
Okay.
So there's a guy interviewing for a job, and the interviewer says, "How do you explain this gap in your resume? There's this gap between jobs." And the guy who's applying for the job says, "Well, that was when I went to Yale." And the interviewer says, "Oh, well, that's impressive. I think you're hired." And the guy being interviewed says, "Thank you. I really need the job."
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's bad. That's bad.
That was so good.
All right. Well, There you have it,
All right.
folks.
Well, yeah. Till next time. We mentioned the plan will be a little different this year. Just we're with Matt being on sabbatical, at least for the first part of the year. We'll do some of these episodes where we talk about the liturgical calendar a bit. I think the next one um, might be Lent, Ash Wednesday and Lent.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we'll just have some other fun stuff in store for y'all. Maybe a few author interviews, but maybe some other stuff where we just talk amongst ourselves about
Yeah.
things that matter to us. So
Kind of like today.
kind of like today. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's all we
All
need
right.
to say for now. Yeah.
Yeah. Happy Epiphany.
Happy Epiphany. I should plug our pluggables real quick since I don't think we did that at the beginning. But if you would like to stay in touch with Gravity Commons, I invite you to join our community, join our online community. If you go to gravitycommons.com/community, you can get the information there. It's kind of an online network where we can talk to each other about stuff. We can ask questions. That's also where we host our courses. We do a book club. We do Reconstructing Faith, like a learning community where we talk through different theological topics that people are deconstructing and reconstructing, all of that kind of thing. That's all hosted there. So I invite you to join that or join our email list. Every Friday, we send out some links to articles that we found interesting or helpful on the internets. If you join the community, you'll automatically be signed up for that. If you don't want to join the community, I think you can go to gravitycommons.com/newsletter or contact. Anyway, just sign up for the community and you'll get
Yeah.
all the goodness. And stay connected to us and like and subscribe. I think that's what you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the podcast. Give us a good review. Help other people find us.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Well, happy Epiphany, Christy
Thank you.
Penley.
You too. And yeah, peace, friend.
Yeah. See you next.